Well, welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk, our post-Super Bowl wrap-up as we talk with Don Henderson. Doug Miles with you right now. And Don, I know we chatted a little bit after the game yesterday, but congratulations as being a former Eagles broadcast crew member. I guess you were kind of happy, huh?
Well, I certainly was. I will say this, boy, that was a perfect example of why I don't bet on anything, because nobody could have convinced me. Nobody could have convinced me that it wasn't going to be a very, very close game. There was going to, maybe 3 points, maybe 5 points at the most. But that would be what happened. Totally shocking to me. I just couldn't believe it. I talked to a good friend of ours, Billy Warndell, who was with the broadcast crew and was down there, and he said, it was just total annihilation of their offensive line. The Kansas City Chiefs just couldn't stop anybody, especially couldn't stop Carter. And, Patrick had no chance to do anything with the ball, and the offense was stymied. But I'll tell you, before it all happened, I just couldn't believe it. I thought that you and I did a pregame shows last week, and I said to you then, I think it's going to be a terrific game. It's going to be. It was over the first quarter. There was no game after that.
The game kind of reminded you of a couple of blowout games in the past. I guess, the Bears of, 86 when they just blew out San Francisco. I think it was not San Francisco, it was Denver. And then you had the Redskins. Remember that Doug Williams game where he had that tremendous quarter? I think they scored 3 or 4 touchdowns, and that game was over in a hurry. And this game, kind of similar to that. It was over in the first quarter.
No question about it. And, of course, the Doug Williams case you're talking about, there were all the other circumstances that went with him, being the quarterback and winning a game and all that was a big part of the Super Bowl. But I want to tell you, I mean, as I mentioned before, and you and I chatted before we went on to do the recording, it just wasn't a game. I mean, for 17-0 before we even got yourself situated with a potato chip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was certainly an easy. If you're an Eagle fan, it was certainly an easy game to watch.
Jalen Hurts, quarterback. Now, I guess he's one of those kind of quarterbacks, even though he had some good seasons. Obviously, he was in the Super Bowl, last year or 2 years ago, right? Whatever it was.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but people don't really talk about him much. He kind of does it quietly in a weird way, doesn't he?
Well, he had a real good Super Bowl this time, but the last one, I remember he made the big fumble that cost him, really cost them a momentum change, and they lost the game 2 years ago, not that last year, the year before. But you're exactly right.
But just the regular season play, he doesn't get a lot of comparatively less press than other quarterbacks that are playing well. I mean,
yeah. And the other thing is, they don't throw the ball like everybody, all the other teams do. I mean, they run the ball and they run over everybody. And but as I say, from that standpoint. But even if you look at the running game, they really didn't run the ball like they did during the regular season in the Super Bowl. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would say, Betty was probably somewhere in the area, 90, 85 yards, something like that.
Right.
Nothing really outstanding. And but the total defense, I mean, they just controlled the game. And you and I chatted again before we started the rebroadcast here, and that was Moore, who was their offensive coordinator and who really worked very, very closely with him all the last couple of years, is going to step over and take over the job with the Saints. So he didn't have to go very far after the game was over. They probably had offices all set for him in the Superdome, ready to go.
Yeah, that was a job that had been held open for seemingly 2 months. Maybe it was about that, since actually they fired their coach in the middle of the season, Dennis Allen. They just had an interim the last, several games, but they'd eyed more apparently from day one that they were looking for a coach because they held this one open. Everything else was hired pretty quickly in the league.
Yep, no question. And Moore was going to get the job. And as you said, I did not see it earlier today who was going to be his defense coordinator, but someone that he worked with.
Staley, who they worked on the Chargers together a couple of years ago.
Right.
is going to be his coordinator. So, but all these guys help each other out. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. It's a fraternity, so they tend to help. They bring guys that they worked with before, or usually, if you were a head coach somewhere else, you bring your assistants with you. That seems to be how it works.
Yep, no question about that. And but as I say, it was an interesting night, even though it was a terrible game. I think everybody I've talked to since then stayed all the way to the end. I mean, they hung right in there and waited till the trophy presentation and everything else. Of course, 90% of the people that I talked to were all Eagle fans too. I mean, you have to go along with that. But as I say, as I said in my opening statement, that's the reason I don't bet. I have no idea what's going to happen, and it's always a guess. I mean, every one of the things that you looked at, people were betting on. It's always a guess. I mean, the coins. Well, how long's the national anthem?
Well,
I mean,
that was there was an article in the Post today about that. I guess the over/under was 120 seconds, and I guess the guy who sang it was like maybe 2 seconds over or something like that. So
is that right? I didn't see that. I got
there was in the Post today. Somebody
that.
wrote an article about that bet was kind of interesting bet, I guess. But seems to me that's a bet that you could fix. I mean, the guy could sing it, and he knows what it is. He could just put a lot of money on himself and sing it, however long he wants. Couldn't he?
It's amazing that you should bring that up, because when I read the day of the Super Bowl, the New York Post had a whole list of bets, and this was one of them. And I said to myself, they're always talking about how you could fix something. Well, if this guy, I mean, if he had a good friend of his or someone gave him $50,000 and said, go bet on the fact that I'm going to go 100. I mean, it
totally
seems to me that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was the first thing I thought of. Is this. What if you're going to do this? This guy can control how much money he can make out of this deal.
I guess maybe they don't care about that, but I just thought that was a bet that easily fixed.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any statistics. Usually they put out, how much money Las Vegas hand. I know there's a lot of not Las Vegas money that's bet, but I haven't heard how the sports books did. In that, have you seen anything?
No, and that the one guy that always bets $100,000 at the last minute.
Mattress Hal or Mattress whatever his name is from Houston, right?
I didn't hear anything about him this year.
No.
So I don't know if maybe he's no longer betting, maybe he's sick. I don't know, but he always waited till like 10
minutes before the game or something.
And would throw in $100,000 on something. On whether it was just win, loss, or what. Last year, he made a lot of money on. I know that.
I know he bets baseball but I didn't a lot. He bets baseball. Yeah. They always have a World Series bet with him, or who's going to win the World Series. During the season, he'll put like $1 million down in April or something. On somebody.
Yeah, but I didn't see any. I didn't see any notion, any mention of his betting this time. So I don't know.
You talk about the. People staying with the game. I just saw. I was looking for the story on the ratings. They say this is the highest rated one, even going, beating last year, 126 million. So I thought it would drop off in the second half, but that's the story I saw today.
Well, they said I couldn't believe it. Everybody I've talked to since the game was over, and even late in the game when I was talking
to people apparently kept the TV on.
They were hanging in. They were hanging in, watching. And I also looked at the commercials. My grandson made two of the commercials.
Oh, right,
one was, he made the ones with the Clydesdale horses, and I forget what another one.
Always has at least one. The horses.
Yeah, they had two. They had two in this one, and he made one of the two. He made the one with the old. They used the old Clydesdales.
Right.
Again, they talked about how they went back to basics and went to Clydesdale again. So, but anyway, so I was watching for his commercials as I watched the game.
Yeah, they always had the great Christmas commercials with the Clydesdales. That was like a
Oh boy!
Whenever year you saw that with the Christmas music, and then usually during the Super Bowl they'll have say with the Clydesdales as well. So and they do a classy commercial, classy stuff.
Yeah. I got to say one thing about the Super Bowl, and I am as big a critic of the Super Bowl entertainment, but I'll tell you the part that they did before the game. I mean, they played New Orleans music. I mean, it was clarinets and horns, and I mean, it was. I didn't see the halftime show, but the part I wanted to see, I wanted to see what they were going to do in New Orleans, and I'll tell you, they did a great job, even with the band and everything before the game started. The music was terrific. I didn't, as they said, the halftime. I don't know bebop or hip hop or whatever it is. So I didn't see
raked pretty good over the coals, even from people who liked the halftime show. They said it was pretty bad. The stories I read, bad.
Yeah, and then the other thing was they got a Palestinian flag or something. Somebody ran through the.
They had Serena Williams came out of the stands, and they were doing like a gang dance. I didn't know about this until I read it today. Like the Crips, and it was like a gang dance. So.
I didn't see any of it. I didn't
know that until today. I just read it before. So the halftime was a disaster. But I didn't know they were doing the jazz. They should have done that as the halftime show, the jazz stuff.
It was terrific. I'm telling you, they did. It was great. And even I didn't understand exactly what some of they did stuff on Bourbon Street. They did. I'll tell you, the pregame stuff was really good. I mean, it was music you could listen to.
Right.
And but the hip hoppers, I didn't see that. So all I did, I read about the. I didn't know anything about it till last night when my wife said that it was on. They ran through with a Palestinian flag or something. But I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it, so I can't.
What'd you think of the announcers, Brady and was it Kevin?
I'll tell you, I thought Brady.
Kevin, right?
Yeah, Burkhardt. Kevin Burkhardt. Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I thought that I really think Brady has. Maybe people disagree, but I think he's really come along in a short period of time. I think the last half of the season he has really done very, very well, and I thought he did a good job on a Super Bowl. I haven't seen any of the evaluators of the broadcast yet. And so I don't know what they thought, but he went into different things. And the other thing was that I thought he was supposed to be not criticizing the officials,
right? And
he criticized the first two penalties. He said, no way I see that. That's no penalty. And the same thing with the second penalty. And I agree with him. It was both of them were very, very fragile as far as whether they were penalties or not. But he came out right away and said, "Whoa, I don't agree with that." And but I thought they had put the thumbs on him about criticizing the officials because he's now, as you said, he's a part owner of the Las Vegas team. So I thought the NFL had put a stopper on him criticizing officials, but he certainly did. I mean, he right away. I mean, that was right at the beginning of the game, and of course we've seen so much criticism of the officials, and also the fact that they use such young officials. A couple of them were less than.
It seems like they're 20s or early 30s now, or they used to be, 40s and up.
Right. You had to be a 5-year official.
You had to work a long time just to get a shot at the NFL back then,
Exactly. They had 3 officials that were 3 years and under.
Yeah.
And so that was a major change. So a lot of things that changed in the Super Bowl. I thought the officiating, as I said, I agree with Brady. I thought that the first 2 were very, very, very questionable. But after that, I thought everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah. So you could call the Eagles now a dynasty in a sense, right? I mean, even though they're 1-1 in recent Super Bowls, they have made it twice in the last, 3-4 years? So, and then no sign of them looking like they're going to lose any players in the offseason here, right?
No, they're a very young team. No question about that. Their defensive unit is very, very young. They're going to lose. Number 33 is going to go, but and he's a player that they got just before the season started, and he was supposed to be a defensive lineman. They turned him into a linebacker, and he's turned into unbelievable linebacker and making tackles. And he made a big interception, diving interception in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But he'll be a free agent. But whether they'll re-sign him or what, I have no idea. But you're exactly right. They're a very young team, and a lot of them are coming back. So this isn't going to be a one-year wonder. This is going to go on for at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Good job by them. And we'll kind of wrap up like we did last week. Just a little bit of a Rays Stadium update. I saw yesterday and today. Apparently, there's a deadline of March 31st on what the Rays. It's in their court now after the county and city, did what they had to do, and said it's up to the Rays to either make the agreement or go along with it by the 31st, or the whole deal is off. So I don't know if you've heard anything from our friend Frank or not, but.
No, I have not. And as a matter of fact, did they give you any indication of money? Because that's really been a stymie.
Yeah, this is the original deal that they all apparently agreed to almost a year ago, and the county and city had that vote about a month and a half ago, and okay, we'll go along with it, but it's in the Rays ballpark now. Now Stu Sternberg, it's up to him to say, all right, but he's been saying, well, we're not going to go with it because the prices are going to be higher now since we're delayed because of the storm.
Well, not only that, how much money he didn't want to put up any money?
He doesn't want to put any more in. No. He says we're not putting any more money into it. Yeah.
How much is he supposed to guarantee them in this deal?
I forget the exact amount. What the city and the county put in, $300 or $400 million, and I guess the team was supposed to put in the rest. But now that there was that delay because of the roof blowing off Tropicana Field, the Rays are saying the prices are going up now because it's going to be delayed a year before they can build it, and we're not going to pay the extra amount that it costs to build it.
Well,
so that's where the hang-up is, or at least that's what he's saying it is.
Well, it'll be on hold, and the next time we do a little recap, maybe we'll have some answers for it. But
I think he wants to move the team. He just wants to let that deal fall apart and go elsewhere. He doesn't want to put any of his own money into it.
We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. As I said, I did not see that, and
I just saw that yesterday. So.
Okay.
And then the roof deal, that's still another whole deal right there, fixing the roof, which is $56 million at least. That they still have to decide what they're going to do with that.
Well, I'll try to get our executive producer of our Wednesday night show, and
he's
see
our
if we
insider in politics in Florida. He knows all that stuff.
Yes, he is. He's very much involved in politics. So when we finish this broadcast, I'll give him a call and see where they stand, because I hadn't seen the final numbers on that yet.
Right.
So I'll try to get him and see what he has to say.
Yeah. So that'll wrap it up for our football season anyway. Decent season if you follow the NFL. I wouldn't say it's a great season, but it's a great season for the Eagles. But so good for them, and see what happens in the off season, because now we turn our attention to, I guess, baseball soon.
You got it.